everyone. Is Roland from Shockey University. So some of you may have been noticed that we've been gone a long time and we haven't shown up anywhere. And that's because everyone went off to do different things, except for me. I think I'm the only member of Shockey you left. So what are we talking about? Yeah. Everyone else went to do like work or something, like they got jobs. Um, Apparently Edward's now a like professional programmer for Blizzard or something. Um, what else? Jackson started like a band. He actually no, he didn't start a band. He's part of that one band he did a lecture on, which is very weird and convenient for the story, I guess, that those two are connected. Um, and then just like we have a bunch of lectures in the backlog even then, but just someone who's supposed to be doing all the thumbnails for it has just been too busy recently to actually do all the thumbnails, so we haven't been able to upload any of them. um, but thankfully I can upload this one by myself. I don't need anyone to approve it or anything, since I'm the only remaining person actually doing anything for Shaka. Um, so I'm gonna do a lecture on the history of the entire world. I don't have an audience this time. I hope that's not an issue. Um, might actually be an issue. I should kind of do that. Yeah, that's more flattering. Okay. So history of the world. There's a bunch of stuff that happens in like the Neolithic age you don't need to know about. There's like cavemen, and then after cavemen, there are like wizards. And they help the caveman. What the fuck happened? Right. Okay. So the real meat of it starts with the 1600s when they invent the Magnavox Odyssey. It's a video game machine that allows you to play video games at home on your television at home. And this is a really big deal because in the 1600s, it's the 17th century, the Black Death is happening and stuff like that. So it's really useful that they have something to pass the time with while like they're like putting dead people on like carriages and carrying them out to mass graves. It's a really like uplifting moment in history that they have this. And the Magnavox Odyssey has some cool games, but none of them have any graphics, so you have to put stickers on your TV for them to work. And that is also interesting because stickers weren't invented yet either. So this is the first instance of like a thing that sticks to another thing in history. um Actually, I think they invented twine and like melted horses or something like that before. But important, you get the point. You get the important notes of it. Um, Magnavox Odyssey was invented, and what it led to. What did it lead to? I mean, there was like King Philip that showed up that one time, and he was like bored, so he played the Magnavox Odyssey, and he played it for so long that he had a heart attack and died. Um, and so people call this like the Evil Otto mystery, where like Evil Otto killed him through the Magnavox Odyssey video game. That's actually a console, not a video game, but it has video games like soccer and Pong killed him. And it was believed that Evil Otto was in Pong and killed the guy. And so because of that, the FBI had to come in and take in the Pong video game and like study it. But it turned out that the Magnavox Odyssey was actually a government psyop because its real name was Project Polybius, and it was invented by the FBI to do mind control experiments on 16th century peasants. I don't really know if that's true or not, actually. I think that might just be a rumor, but what is important and what is definitely true is that after that machine was invented, like that none of that really mattered. It didn't really go anywhere. So then Video's game, the man himself, decides to invent Mega Man. And Mega Man becomes like a household name because the fact that he's like, first off, his original name was actually Rockman, and one of the reasons it's got so popular was because back in like the Middle Ages of the 70s, people were really into rocks and like tying them to sticks and destroying things. So, I mean, we're jumping a little far ahead into the 1970s, I understand, but that's when Mega Man comes out, and like a lot of people like Grok, not Grok, what was his name? Gungo shows up and he's like, ooh, 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 and it's really cool. It's like, ooh, 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 ooh. He's so cool. I'm going to be honest. Gungo is my favorite character in this whole story. Y'all don't know anything about Gungo, but like you'll in time, give him time, he'll grow on you. He'll grow on you. Um, but after that, after Gungo and all that, um, my hand's getting shaky. Man, how did Tyler do this? Tyler holding the camera this whole time, and like getting. I mean, he always had like these unflattering angles where it looked like I had a double chin and all that. Can I get an angle where I have like? Can you see my bun? The bun is important for branding because it eventually it's going to be as big as my head, and then I'll just look like a cartoon character in real life. That's the goal. Um, but enough about cartoon characters in real life. It's time to talk about uh, Gungo was like ooh ooh ooh. Mega Man came out. His original name was Rockman, so technically Rockman came out. Mega Man didn't come out. Um, of course, it would get renamed to Mega Man because it had nothing to do with rocks. Everyone was confused what it had to do with rocks. People assumed that he was shooting rocks out of his little cannon arm. If you know Mega Man, he has like a cannon for an arm and he shoots robots, which hadn't been invented yet either. So people didn't really know what robots were. Um, So he shoots like little rocks out of his cannon arm, but actually they were lemons. They were supposed to be lemons, but because of the like limitations of graphics back then and the fact that lemons hadn't been discovered yet in the United States, which did not exist, so I guess it would just be North America, which wasn't named, so it was just that continent that was to the left, but left didn't exist yet, so it was just that one half of the original Pangea, right? Um, right. So we got to Pangea. We got to Gungo. Was it Gungo? There was Grok. There was Gungo. There was Goober. Oh no! Goober comes later. Goober comes later. Don't worry. Forget about Goober. Forget about Goober. Um, what happens? Mega Man comes out. It's a big hit. Oh, the reason I mentioned Mega Man as being so important is because it's the revelation that of the color blue. No, the color purple. Because originally he was meant to be purple, but purple hadn't been invented yet, so they had to make him blue. Now, you might be confused, like how did they not have purple yet? Purple's just there. You can see it. And the reason for that is because purple was only like in very rare like flowers and seashells in nature, and so they just didn't have access to the color purple yet. But they thought of like, what if we made this color that was like blue, but it was also red at the same time? And that was like a really interesting idea they wanted to try out. I keep saying they. Mega Man was made by Sakurai, I want to say. We'll say Sakurai for now. Yeah, Mega Man was invented by Sakurai. He wanted to include the color purple, but it wasn't invented yet. So, because they were like, what if red and also blue? That would be like a really interesting like idea. But it was like they were already like inventing a guy that shoots lemons out of his arm. There was so many bold ideas they had to cut it back. So it was like blue. They're still trying to figure out how to make purple. Eventually, Mega Man would be purple though in the game Rayman. And you see, because it's like lemons, but now he shoots rays, and that's why he's called Rayman. Um, Interesting though, he loses all his arms and legs in this game, which is a weird choice um for the development. And this comes out around like the 1900s, I want to say. And that's like, when war starts. You guys know the whole like the 2000 Hyundai Elantra rolling up on Omaha Beach and surprising everyone with its 0% APR financing. There was, shoot, I forgot. We need to get to Undertale. Okay, so Undertale comes out, right? And it's a big hit. It's very important. It was invented by God himself. And the reason this game is important is because it was introducing the idea of peace to the world. No one had the idea of not killing each other until this game came out, and people realized, oh, we could just talk it out. And that's when like diplomacy starts. And what did diplomacy do? Oh yeah. They used that. They used diplomacy to get through that one thing. What was it called? What was the word? Man, if I had like one person in the audience who knew what I was talking about, this would be so much easier. If I had like access to the internet to look it up real quick, but unfortunately, the internet went down a while ago, which is why I'm uploading this video a year late. So what else? What else happened? Let's just skip this. Let's cut to the chase. In 2000s, we're in the 2000s now. As you can see, not a lot happened before the year 2000, when the biggest game, the greatest game of all time, Banjo-Tooie, came out. Now, the reason Banjo-Tooie is important rather than Banjo-Kazooie is because for some reason people hate Banjo-Tooie because they're stupid. I was watching YouTuber Coney play Banjo-Tooie, and he went up to like Pterodactyl Land, and he found like the way you transform into a giant dinosaur. It's like, oh cool, you're a giant dinosaur now. What are you gonna do with that? And he just ran around the level and then didn't do anything, and then turned back into Banjo. And I'm like, how could you be so stupid that you would waste all this time and be like, "Grah, I haven't gotten a single Jiggy. This sucks," and just not even interact with the game. He went to Grunty's Industries, and then he's like, "Oh, cool! I'm going to turn into a washing machine. What good will that do me?" And then he finds someone who needs their clothes cleaned, and he cleans their clothes for him. And he's like, "Cool! Now give me a Jiggy." And they're like, "Could you clean 5 more clothes for me, and then you'll get a Jiggy?" And he got mad at that. Like, why would you get mad at the fact that have to? You're supposed to like get other things done. What if you just played the game? What if you just played the game? What if you just stopped, get out of your head for like 10 seconds and just interact with the piece of media that you're in front of? Like, what is the point of just sitting there and getting mad at the fact that you have to do this very simple task a couple more times? It just a little hide and seek, a little bit of exploration. Have some. Coney is just a fundamentally incurious person, and it boils my blood every time I see him talk. Who's Coney again? Right, so Banjo-Tooie comes out, and for some reason people hate it. People hate this game, and it's the first time people discover that opinions exist. And the reason it's important that opinions exist is because it turns out that that whole talking thing that Undertale discovered might not actually work because people are stupid. So then nothing ever changes and everything gets worse. And we slowly approach the heat death of the universe. Um, and then all of a sudden the world blows up. I mean, like, everyone's dead by then, so no one really notices, but the world blows up. The sun, like takes over everything. Complete, like, heat, like, entropy or whatever, like all matter and all energy has been equalized throughout the universe, which means nothing exists anymore and everyone's dead. um famous philosopher Matt Groening once said that it would lead to a great crunch, but since that's already happened and nothing really changed, like it just stayed that way for all of eternity, we know he was wrong. But I think that's just important to point out. I think that's it. I think that's the lecture. I never mentioned Gungo.